KNUS Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
It's 6 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Thursday, August 21st, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. Bill, can you believe we only got a week left of August? That's just
Yeah, that's a little nuts.
coming in hot.
Yeah,
Speaking of hot.
hot. I mean, there was the weather yesterday, and so speaking of hot, this afternoon it's going to be like mid 90s. Come hang out with Jeff and I. Taste of Douglas County inside the air-conditioned building and get food. $10 tickets up until 5 o'clock, and then it doubles on you. So you can get half price right now, tasteofdouglascounty.com. Tasteofdouglascounty.com. Mike Boyle heading out to set up tables as we speak. He'll join us in about an hour. But again, air conditioning and $10, and you can just walk around and stuff your face. And you get to hang out with us, too. But we're talking, there's ice cream, there's gelato, Dairy Queen's going to be there. There's beer, there's meat, there's wine, pizza. $10, Taste of Douglas County. And I hear rumors, even Peter Boyles is making an appearance. So, yeah. So, let's see. Yeah, come on out and hang out in the air conditioning with us, because I was outside a little bit yesterday, and that was uncomfortable. That is not good.
I went running with the middle school team at my kids' charter school.
Why? You don't have to. Why would you
Bro,
do that?
you want to have motivation? Get beat by a bunch of middle school kids.
The thing for me is, it's the idea.
You're like, oh man, I really got to pick it up.
The thing for me is, I understand, and I am not above being beat by a bunch of middle school kids. Okay, I play online games. I get schooled on the regular by kids that have not hit puberty. I suck. At least I know that. The thing is, I'm inside. You're choosing to get this humiliation in public in the heat.
By the way, on top of all that, there's a headline on the New York Times that running causes cancer.
How? That's
what they're trying to figure out. I guess all these ultra runners and marathoners are coming in with pancreatic cancer.
Yeah, I did see that, the ultra runners. Yeah, that's weird. I wonder if it has to do something with how you have to hydrate or not hydrate your body over the course of the ultra run.
Yeah.
That for whatever reason, either it's like the idea of, you understand when you are playing soccer, and I'm sure with long distance running you have this as well, the buildup of the lactic acid, and you can feel it where your muscles begin to tighten, and you can feel those cramps begin, and that literally it's just the lactic acid is not being broken down inside of your muscles, and so you have to break it down. And I'm wondering if it's something like that, where it's that over the course of the time something's happening inside your body, and the buildup ends up in the pancreas. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good theory. Mine, as somebody who was an ultra runner, still kind of am. I really enjoy some of those longer races. It is a sport almost more than anything else that consumes weird processed food. So
that's interesting.
You these goos and these bars and these shakes that you consume all the time while you're training and while you're running. I would go, because I had these shakes that were recovery shakes, and it just was real rough on my stomach.
That could be interesting, because here's a little fun thing you can do sometimes. If you're a little sciencey, go into the pharmacist area, the grocery store, the Walgreens, the CVS, wherever you are, and look at the back of some of the ingredients they have. You look at the ingredients in NyQuil, about somewhere between a third to 50% of them do almost nothing to you. It has to do with feeling and everything else, and emotion and taste and digestion, but actually helping you feel better? Nope, not at all. Completely and totally irrelevant. In fact, some of the ingredients in there, I firmly believe, are just there to make it look like they're putting a lot of stuff in there to make you feel better, because some of the stuff isn't going to do anything at all. And so I'm wondering if that's part of it as well, that there are some ingredients that they have to have inside of those goops, or like fillers or pastes or something to make them congeal.
None of that stuff's natural, and it's just highly chemical and all that. So who knows? But anyways, come join us tonight at the Taste of Douglas County and get some authentic good food.
Yes. Yeah.
Weird goose.
Like, I know, like made by restaurants, like, they're taking the time, they're going to craft it, they're bringing samples out. We're doing pizza, there's wings, the Old North Inn's going to be there. This is going to be awesome. I'm excited for tonight because basically it's free food.
Yeah, 5 to 8. We'll be hanging out there.
I'm so excited.
Peter Boyles will be there as well. We're going to talk to Mike Boyle. We got a lot to cover this hour.
Yeah.
I'm buried.
Really, DPS is surprised it's sunny and hot.
Right.
We'll talk about that soon.
Denver Public Schools canceling classes at more than a dozen schools and plan to let kids out early. A lot to cover there. Plus, this was buried in an article, but is a huge news item. Mayor Mike Johnston, the city of Denver, spending a big old goose egg on illegal immigrants next year.
Yeah.
And I only bring this up because the choice to spend the $356 million on illegal immigrants wasn't just a policy decision. It was a giant moral guilt trip about how we are. They got the Statue of Liberty, bring your huddled masses, all this stuff. Look at us. We're so progressive and illegal immigrants are so important to our community. And then Mayor Mike Johnston spending $0 on illegal immigrants next year.
And this is what I appreciate about you bringing this forward is, okay, this also highlights some of the differentiation in how Jeff and I consume news, because he saw this, and Jeff's first blush, and rightly so, is about the $0, and it's going to be a zero sum in the 2026 budget and what's going on, and that's a huge part of the story. And I saw the exact same story, and I looked at where that information was placed and how the reporter at this particular station was disseminating that to the public. And Jeff is 110% right. It's just funny that I got distracted on form where Jeff is concerned about substance. It was very interesting. I'm like, the hell are they doing here? And he's like, no, but this is, and yes, Jeff's absolutely right. This is ridiculous. And it's something nobody else is talking about out there because other people in the media are burying it. They have missed the lead. They don't understand where the sizzle is inside the story. Jeff found it, and we're bringing it to you later today. Yeah, a big fat goose egg for the migrants. What does that mean? Yeah, this is going to be fun.
Have they lost their heart and soul?
I know.
Come on, Denver. We're so vibrant with our illegal immigrants.
Yeah, right. Mike threatened to block you at the edge of the county. He was going to bring moms and police out there. Yeah.
Yeah, this guy was ready to go to jail, Nelson Mandela.
And now, zero? I'm surprised. Either we solved it or he wasn't that committed. What can we infer? Yeah, this is going to be fun.
So we've got a lot to talk about. Plus, 7 o'clock hour, Rose Puglisi is going to join us. She's the top Republican in the Colorado House of Representatives on the special session that kicks off today. Scott Shamblin, Executive Director of Colorado Right to Life, pointing out that a number of these bills being introduced are going to protect funding for abortion down at the state capitol when we're facing $1 billion budget deficit. And then Democrat voter registration dropping across the nation. Republicans going up in many states, but not here in Colorado. What's going on? We got a whole lot to cover. Now it's time, though, for News and Comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, News and Comment.
Hey, good Thursday morning. It's going to be a great show with Jeff and Billy today. 64 and clear right now. Just gorgeous outside. Get out there and walk if you have a chance. Expecting a high of 96 today. This portion of the news sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234. To learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, the Adams County Sheriff's Office says a suspect managed to escape arrest last night in the area of East 70th Avenue and Washington. Law enforcement set a perimeter trying to catch the suspect after a report of shots fired in the area. The scene remained active for several hours before the search was called off. The sheriff's office says the case will be turned over to detectives for further investigation. Colorado lawmakers are disagreeing on some proposed changes to AI regulation laws. The disagreement comes from disclosure requirements for businesses that will use the technology. The current law states businesses that use AI notify customers or consumers, that is, when it makes decisions affecting employment, finance, and healthcare. The proposed change would require businesses informing consumers when they begin interacting with AI. The Palmer Lake Planning Commission unanimously votes to delay the vote on the Buc-ee's annexation proposal until September 3rd. The original date was scheduled for August 28th. Commission members say they need more time to review the Buc-ee's proposal, in addition to concerns from the community. The location will be near County Line Road and I-25. So you would have one up north and one down south. Russia's foreign minister says Moscow must be a part of any international talks on Ukraine security following the war. European leaders have been discussing ways to protect Ukraine after the Russian invasion comes to an end. DJT has called for security guarantees as a part of any deal to end the war. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov called the European talks a clumsy effort to sway Trump and said discussing security guarantees without Russia was a road to nowhere. Russia continues to attack Ukraine. Last night and this morning, D.C. will be putting a special youth curfew zone in place beginning tonight. Groups of more than 8 minors are banned from gathering inside the curfew zone. With some exceptions, the curfew zone will be in place through at least Sunday. New York Governor Kathy Hochul, she is pledging to counter Texas Republicans' new congressional map, boosting GOP seats, calling it a desperate power grab. Though New York law blocks mid-decade redistricting, Hochul says she'll confront 47's influence head-on. California Democrats, backed by Obama, of course, are also eyeing retaliation. And Barry's commie buddy, David Axelrod, remember him, says the Dems' problem, you know what their problem is? They follow the norms. Really?
This is a constant problem for Democrats because they believe in rules and laws and norms and institutions. And when you're in a political battle with Donald Trump, it's asymmetric warfare because he does not.
What do you think about that, Jeff?
Oh, Donald Trump's the first Republican that fights the way the Democrats do.
Yes,
and that's
exactly.
I mean, it's so important to understand that. I mean, look at our nominees up until Donald Trump were George H.W. Bush, Bob Dole, George W. Bush, John McCain, Mitt Romney. I mean, it followed a pretty standard path of pale, male, and stale, and then you have Donald Trump comes in like a wrecking ball and just fights the way the Democrats do, and now they don't know what to do. They're all running for the hills.
They're so confused. You're right. Now, I will say they do believe in government. They believe that government is God. And a lot of them don't believe in God. I think that's the difference. But the way he said it, it was just
You're digging through Donald Trump's wife's underwear drawer, and then they're complaining about Donald Trump fighting asymmetrical warfare. Come on.
Absolutely. A judge is denying the DOJ's request to unseal grand jury records from Epstein's sex trafficking case, keeping key evidence sealed despite renewed public interest. Last month, the president directed AG Pam Bondi to seek court approval for the release. Former Biden aide Ian Sams is scheduled to testify today in a Republican-led investigation into Sleazy Joe's mental fitness and use of an auto pen. Oh, an auto pen, the auto pen in office. Sams previously agreed to a closed-door interview, though it's unclear if he will plead the fifth. Republicans argue Biden's alleged cognitive decline and use of the auto pen could invalidate certain pardons. Luke and Eric Menendez are set for parole hearings starting today after spending over 30 years in prison for killing their parents in 1989. Powerball jackpot rolls over again and no one wins. Wednesday night's grand prize pushing the total to $700 million ahead of Saturday's drawing. And I think actually that's how much we're going to save in the government. Tulsi Gabbard leading the way to cut some jobs in their department, and we'll save, I think, $700 million, I believe. $1 million tickets were sold in Michigan, Oklahoma, and a $2 million winner in Tennessee. Yes, sir.
We do have some breaking news coming in.
Okay.
Sad, very sad news. Dr. James Dobson has passed away.
Oh, man. Wow. You can speak on him a lot. What a great, great guy. Yeah, that's how old was he?
He was born in 36, so I don't know. Someone
90, yeah, and about 90, whatever, 91. Is that
89
right?
maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Yeah,
Not
he's
quite 90. But
so
yeah,
where does he?
sad.
Where did he live again? In the Springs?
I think he was still here in Colorado.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
My
huge.
wife works for Focus on the Family, so we'll get some of the latest
Absolutely.
news. But that just
That's
posted on his Instagram account. Today we share the news of the passing of our beloved founder, Dr. James Dobson. He went home to be with the Lord peacefully following a brief illness.
Oh, wow.
Dr. Dobson's unwavering faith and tireless devotion to the family shaped generations. For nearly 5 decades, his voice championed life, marriage, and the truth of God's word. As we grieve, we also give thanks for his life, his legacy, and the mission that lives on through the Dr. James Dobson Family Institute. We invite you to join us in prayer and carry the mission forward. And then they close with scripture, precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints. Psalm 116:15.
Wow. Yeah, that's big news. And
Yeah.
thank God for him, honestly.
Amen.
I mean, things that he has done for this country and families, incredible. Thank you for that news, Jeff. Rockies beat Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers last night. It's 63 in Englewood, 62 in Broomfield, 64 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
It's going to be another hot day, but starting tomorrow and gaining momentum through the weekend will be a cooling trend and an increased chance of shower and thunderstorm activity. Highs today, mid to upper 90s. Lows tonight, low to mid 60s. Upper 80s, afternoon and evening thunderstorms likely Friday. Showers and thunderstorms likely at times with highs only 70s and low 80s this weekend. Weather is a service of L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. Meteorologist Don Day on the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Several Denver public schools canceling classes today due to extreme heat. Steck Elementary, Brown Elementary, Park Hill Elementary, Bradley International School, Asbury Elementary, McMean Elementary, Lincoln Elementary, Edison Elementary, Skinner Middle School, Bear Valley Middle School, University Park Elementary, Vista Academy, and Stephen Knight Center for Early Education. 2 schools, Johnston Elementary and Bryant Webster ECE 8, will be released early Thursday, with Johnston letting out at 12:30 and Bryant Webster at 12:20. Bill, what's your thoughts on this?
Oh, I'm just surprised that it seems every summer the Denver public school system is shocked by the big glowing ball in the sky is hot. I don't understand this. How do we not have air conditioning in these facilities yet? And I understand the technology and I understand the retrofit, but what I don't understand is we are well aware of the seasonal change, and we seem to have an issue with this regularly. I'm not the sharpest spoon in the drawer, but I would assume that if once a year these elementary schools were catching on fire, or they had massive sewage problems with it backing up, or the power kept cutting out during portions of the school day, they'd go to fix it. I would assume that they would try to fix that. Yet, every 12 months, we seem to have this annual calendar issue where it's very hot and we're sending kids back into the places to learn where it's hot and sweaty and uncomfortable. And yeah, the kids are going to be distracted. They're not going to want to focus. They're not going to want to learn. It makes the teachers' jobs nearly impossible. And yet, our fix is, no. Yeah, that's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous that when we're talking about different funding and proposals, that nobody inside of the school system makes this a top priority.
Well,
it's just silly.
They have the money. A recent bond approved in 2024 directs $301 million towards critical maintenance. This would seem like critical maintenance. Like if you can't do your basic job because of this issue, that would fall under the category of critical maintenance in my mind.
Here's the thing. Okay, on a side note, just to divert for a second. I talk a lot about I have members of my family that are in the education system. All of them return to school before the kids do. All of them are in school after the kids leave. If during that time in which there are no students in the school, if the air conditioning doesn't run inside the building for whatever reason, because again, the district does updates and maintenance on the facilities during the off time. If the power is turned off, if the water doesn't work, or if the air conditioning doesn't work in the facility, they are sent home and work from home. Sometimes they're sent to a different facility if they can't access what they need to from the office or from home. But this is what I need to understand, that people should listen to the Jeff and Bill Show. When the kids are not in school, they still send everybody home because they know this is an issue. This isn't just a surprise that happens when the kids show up.
Yeah,
oh, my God, all of a sudden it's really hot. They have a procedure in place when the kids aren't there. They know this is an issue. Yet, here we are. Again, for how many years in a row?
Well, and didn't we go through an entire year of online learning?
Yeah.
So it's not like it's, wait, what is this thing? Zoom online class?
I know.
So you could do that. But I also want to point out that nearly 1/3 of a $975 million bond package is earmarked for updating aging buildings and infrastructure.
So that would probably, again, if you're going to update the aging buildings and infrastructure outside of plumbing, electricity, and air conditioning, tell me what else. I mean, okay, foundational work, etc. Sure. What else? What rises to the level of those type of improvements? I know a school building that has had problems with plumbing over and over and over again. Rangeview for years has had problems with part of the school trying to fall down the hill. It's moving. Part of the school is moving. The other part says, nope, I'm staying right here. So yes, part of the school is trying to separate from the other part of the school. Yeah, that seems to be a big issue. They deal with that almost every summer. That's part of it. Yeah. But air conditioning seems to be one of those top 3 things you'd want to put on the priority list.
This is also a good reminder as to why we don't have school year round.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it would be awful. Yeah, the middle of the summer would be ridiculous.
Middle of July, ridiculous. Every single day.
Yeah, and then what they do is they just cancel it, and that's the problem. Is they just end up canceling the school because it's too hot because they're not dealing with it. But again, priorities, people, priorities. Yes, they're supposed to be doing school improvements, and again, if we're looking around at schools that need improving, I would really like to know what on the list ranks higher than getting air conditioning into these schools as far as retrofit. What else do we have? Again, if it's crumbling foundations or there's issue with bad electrical wiring or plumbing.
Well, I could tell you, based upon some of our conversations with lawmakers like Barb Kirkmeyer, ESL. Good portion of money going to ESL.
Yeah, it is.
So, all right, we've got a lot to talk about today. Next, we're going to get to Denver Mayor addressing questions regarding his layoffs, a $200 million budget deficit, and buried deep in this article on Channel 7, probably one of the hottest lines, the city of Denver spending $0 moving forward on illegal immigrants. We all laid it out for you guys. There was a tale of 2 cities, what Aurora was going to do with its tax dollars towards illegal immigrants and what Denver was going to do. And at this point, it seems to be a clear winner. Mayor Mike Johnston going now with the Aurora model of no dollars spent on illegal immigrants moving forward. We've got a whole lot to talk about. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Wake up, Denver. There's no better place to start your morning than IHOP, where the pancakes are fluffy, the coffee is hot, and the smiles are endless. Wednesday, August 27th, join Jeff and Bill as they broadcast their show live from IHOP at 1595 South Colorado Boulevard in Denver. You're officially invited to be part of the excitement. Come grab your favorite breakfast and watch the Jeff and Bill Show in action from 6 to 10 a.m. Don't forget to try the special Jeff and Bill breakfast, pancakes, any style eggs, and crispy bacon, all for just $7.10. It's a deal as good as their hot takes. All they need is you. Bring your appetite, bring your friends, and kick off your day with great food and great conversation. See you Wednesday, August 27th at IHOP.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Several DPS schools canceling classes today due to extreme heat. And as Bill points out, not new, giant ball of fire.
Do these schools not have a science class to understand how the seasons work? I don't understand this. Oh, well.
Text message is pretty hot on this one, as they say.
Nicely done.
But first, hold on. We got to build the transgender bathrooms. 2124 texting in, instead of spending hundreds of millions of dollars plus associated electricity and carbon footprint to retrofit schools with AC, something that's been going to be used at most for only a few weeks a year, why can't we move the school year to start after Labor Day and go until the end of May, like many schools in the East? Why are we fighting nature instead of trying to work with it? Maybe there's a good reason for starting school in mid-August, one of the absolute hottest times of the year, but I haven't heard of it. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Let's go to Joan in Lakewood. Good morning, Joan. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Good morning.
Good morning. So in 2009, I went and testified in front of the Denver school board about how hot these schools were. And I had a little card that had been given to me to put in your car so that you would know when it was too hot to leave your dog in the car. And I took that little placard up to the third floor room at Hamilton Middle School, and it was too hot for a dog in that room that day. And I went back and I told Denver Public Schools about it, and you know what? I had actually been part of the I was on the accountability board for the district, and I got on there because they had at that time 9 days off during the year, and I wanted to make sure that they stopped taking days off. And this was before they put the fall break in. And I can tell you right now that the reason you can't go from from after Labor Day to the middle of May is because there is not a single week that doesn't have a day taken out of it the entire year.
Yeah, there are a lot of days off.
That's a good point. And you get these kind of in-teacher service days and all that stuff. Another aspect and angle of this is how many parents that rely upon their kids to be in school so they could go to work are now having to make accommodations.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that I've talked about is that parents, when you have kids, your allotted sick days from your employer are not used because you're sick. It's used because the kids have something else to do. That's how you use them.
Well, I can tell you that it was very hot yesterday, and there are houses in Lakewood that don't have air conditioning because they were built 50 years ago when air conditioning wasn't that big a deal. And sometimes when they are sending kids home, they are sending kids home to unair-conditioned homes. And it's like, let's go from hot to hot.
Yeah, a great point. Appreciate it. Joan from Lakewood.
Thanks for the call.
Her line will be open 303-696-1971. Jay from Louisville texting in. When I taught in Montbello, the school got super hot and cold because it lacked adequate heating and cooling. But it was funny how the admin didn't seem to care. Yeah. It often affects the poorest kids.
Yeah, it does. There's almost this idea of a couple of different things.
One, struggling.
Well, and one is also the idea of resource allocation, that there are going to be some areas just based on tax base that are going to have more money to do things with than others. But there also is this law of self-perpetuation where because this school has been this way, that's then expected. So if a particular school has struggled with the heat and the cooling system for years upon years, that becomes status quo. And institutionally, it becomes very, very difficult to then change that because the focus will be on maintaining status quo in other buildings. And what I mean by that is you have a different building in the district that has much better heat and cooling. If that one breaks, That's the one they're going to tend to. They're going to upgrade that one rather than going back to the school that didn't have it in the first place. It isn't necessarily about equity, meaning that all the schools are equal. In many ways, institutionally, what I've seen, and this is looking at some of the stuff internally inside the larger school districts, that there is a maintenance of status quo, that it not necessarily is supposed to get better in this school because this is what this school is at this point. There's some of that institutionally, which is awful.
To that point, I think one of the underlining realities here is that these schools operated without AC for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Not 1 year, not 2 years. We're talking decades upon decades. So is this just par for the course, right? Every year we have to take some days off in August because it just gets too hot. Happened in the 1940s and it's happening now. Or is this, an effort to push school earlier because they didn't start school till later, and as a result, we now have to deal with this, and let's just go back to starting school after Labor Day. I love starting school after Labor Day.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's stupid to start school in August.
Yeah, for me, it didn't really matter one way or the other. It changed all the time, and for me, there were always other things that started before school. So I literally, this is one of those few things that I don't care. I literally don't care. You decide what's best for the school district. Start when you want to. The one critique that I do have is I don't think that our school, this is going to really piss people off. I don't think our school years are long enough. I don't think that we have enough in classroom time. And students will hate me for that one.
Do you blame that on the length of school as it would go through the summer, like you'd like to see it during the summer, or we take too many of these like in-service days throughout the year?
A little of both.
Yeah.
There's a little of both that is baked in. Some of those in-service days I think are egregious, and some of the other time off. But I understand the role and why some of that is necessary. But the other part is looking at the number of hours and number of contact days. I think that, and here's the problem though, is I am unconvinced that the kids that need the most help and most support are going to benefit by simply getting more hours in the classroom. That's the problem I have. I fundamentally think that we have way too few student-teacher contact hours. I would love to see that increased. The problem that gets me to not trumpeting that and making that my main cause is because I'm not yet convinced that the kids that could benefit from it the most are the ones that then would help. Because if the kids that could benefit the most are already skipping class and not turning in assignments, this is just more classes to skip, more assignments to miss. So that's part of what I haven't figured through the process either. But yeah, I do think we should be spending more time in school. And I can say that proudly as someone who's no longer in school. It's much easier that way. Much easier. Yeah. Student Billy probably would not argue this. And probably would hate me right now.
Jason in Denver texting in, just like we laugh when southern schools completely shut down when they get 2 inches of snow, I'm sure parents in Phoenix are laughing at us right now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but Phoenix is a town that is built, or city that is built around air conditioning. It basically, they just said, where can we put all the air conditioning? And then we'll do that. I mean, you can go down entire blocks and never go outside because all the buildings are connected. That's really weird.
Yeah.
In there. That's really weird.
Well, I had friends that went to the University of Rochester, and it's the opposite.
Yeah.
You can go to building all throughout winter without ever going outside.
Jeez.
It's all connected. So, yeah, there you go.
That's funny.
Either sides of the country.
Yep.
And here we are, Colorado in the middle. Well, several DPS schools canceling classes today due to extreme heat. Good idea? Warranted? Is this due to starting school too early? Do we need to invest more in infrastructure? Plenty of money, hundreds of millions of dollars in a bond going to critical infrastructure updates for Denver Public Schools. Is this just mismanagement? Or this is just a part of life? It just gets hot during August. Move on. The other thing we're discussing today, the mayor of Denver in an interview pointing out that we're spending $0 next year on illegal immigrants.
Wait, on what?
Yeah.
On the... Wait,
there's so many angles here.
Weren't we?
We spent $356 million during the Biden administration on illegal immigrants. Now zero. in the city of Denver. That in itself is a discussion point. Well, what changed?
Yeah,
right?
What changed?
And then also, because we lived it, Bill, probably more than anybody else, because we had Danielle Jurinsky on the show, and we talked about how there was an approach to illegal immigration from two different cities, two different approaches, and it looks like, Bill, we got a clear winner here.
Yes, we do. And that winner is
Aurora.
Yeah,
and
you're
that's
right.
why Danielle Jurinsky deserves to be reelected. But look, there were two steps to this budget crisis. The city of Denver spending $356 million and then first having to cut services. If you remember, they said, well, we're going to have to cut rec center services and some other stuff. And that's where this initially kicked off. And Danielle Jurinsky and Aurora leaders going, no, we're not cutting anything to our citizens. They're the ones who pay the taxes. They're here legally. We're going to make sure that they get served. That money's going to them. And the city of Denver going, well, we think we can make it work. Plus, and I saw this when he testified before Congress, this big moral case that was made from the city of Denver, that Statue of Liberty, bring us your huddled masses. It leads to a more vibrant community. And you conservatives that don't want to spend money on the poor refugees that have fled here are terrible people. I mean, this thing was laden with this moralizing about the importance of spending money and being compassionate with illegal immigrants. And then this buried in a Channel 7 article, but it's important. He writes, in fact, this is Mike Johnston, our migrant spending next year will go to zero in the 2026
That
budget.
is crazy. Now, I got something.
And he was going to go to jail, too, to defend him.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Nelson Mandela.
I got something for Mayor Johnston here in a second. But first, I got a critique for our friends over at the KMGH, because this is where we found the story. The headline on this is Denver Mayor Mike Johnston addresses questions, criticisms surrounding city employee layoffs. The notation and the quote about the zeroing out of the help for the migrants in the budget is in paragraph 9. I'm sorry. I come, and I do this sometimes on the show. I got to have a little bit of personal privilege here because I come from being trained as a journalist. I don't function as one now, but this pisses me off. There's a thing like an inverted pyramid, and it tells you how you're supposed to disseminate the information. This is something that should have occurred in the top 3 graphs, if not top 2. I can see not putting it in the top graph, but I also critique whether or not it should have appeared in the headline. Now, this is what I'm asking the listeners of the Jeff and Bill Show. Which headline do you click on? The Denver Mayor Mike Johnston addresses questions, criticisms surrounding city employee layoffs, or Denver spending $0 on migrant programs in 2026, Mayor Johnston explains. Which one do you click on? Which one gets your attention? Which one asks you the question to go further into the article and to figure out why? The first one that KMGH posted is like, well, he's addressing criticisms and asking questions. The other one is giving you something emotional, is giving you something that is targeted, something you can respond to, and something that means a lot to the community. The actual sizzle inside the story is the zeroing out of the migrant proposals after, as Jeff outlined, he spent hundreds of millions and was willing to go to jail for it. That's the story, not the rest of the fluff you wrote around this. This is bad journalistic writing. I'm not going to criticize the individual or bring out their name, but this is bad writing. Whoever wrote it, you missed it. Whoever edited it, you missed it. You just missed it on this one. Now, Mayor Mike Johnston, the hell? You wanted to go to jail? Now it's a zero item? Do you really believe all that stuff that you said? Jeff, you sat behind him in Congress.
Right.
And he talked about how important this was.
How great they were to our community. We hung out a sign.
Yeah.
We hard immigrants across the entire entire city and county building in 2017. Went on to spend hundreds of millions of dollars servicing them. Went before Congress to testify how great illegal immigration was for the city of Denver. Was willing to go to jail and even put Denver police on the border of the county of Denver to stand against ICE. And now $0.
Yeah, and this is what the city of Denver and especially Mayor Mike Johnston is telling you about his immigrant proposals, actions, and processes. They are a failure. They are a massive failure. That's what he is telling you based on the city budget. Because if you're going to zero out an item after only starting it a couple of years ago, there's only two possible conclusions. One, problem is solved and we don't need to spend the money anymore. Or, program didn't work, this is stupid, it's a failure, and we don't need to spend the money anymore. It is intuitively obvious to even the most casual observer in Denver, the migrant problem isn't solved. We just had the acting special agent GEA on the show earlier this week talking about all of the drug busts and the arrests and the members associated with TDA that were arrested in our city after a long 9-month investigation. So the problem still exists. So the zero is not because it worked. The zero is because the mayor and Denver is admitting they failed. Full stop.
Can't say it any better. Well done, Bill Thorpe. All right, we've got You Choose the News coming up. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
All right, it's that time of the morning. We give the people what they really need, and they always talk to us about whenever we're out and about. They love Billy's You Choose the News.
Yes, normally the question is, what happened to you as a kid where you dropped on your head? That's the only way we can explain this part of the show. It is America's favorite fake radio news game show, You Choose the News. Yes, I've scoured the interwebs for moments this morning to find really dumb headlines about us humans, giving them even more ridiculous headlines so that we can play this fake radio news game show. Why in the world would we waste valuable KNUS airtime? Well, because those in charge are not awake until 7 o'clock. So, shh. This is a giant secret. Yeah, Jeff and I like being unsupervised. And as always, you got to bring in a partner in crime or a fall guy, so some people call him. It is Balake Olson joining us from the news department. All right, here we go, gentlemen. Your headlines. Headline number 1, robots taking our jobs. Headline number 2, living like a Hollywood star. Headline number 3, Hamburglar approved. And headline number 4, all who wander are not lost. Mr. Hunt, your choice.
Hamburglar approved. Please.
Yes, a throwback to our visit recently to McDonald's and getting a very disappointing adult Happy Meal. But once again, McDonald's has failed the test of cybersecurity.
Still think about that shake.
It's awful. It's horrible. had a friend of mine from California reach out earlier the week and go, yeah, I saw the video, went out there, did it. The shake sucks. Like, yeah, it was awful. It was nice to hear that. They're like, yeah, I agree with you guys. Alrighty, here we go. McDonald's failing the cybersecurity test. This time, a hole has been discovered by researcher Bob DeHacker. He's popular online after he alerted the company to the possibility of free chicken nuggets by taking advantage of their client-sided only reward point validation system, only to be told by a software engineer, we're just too busy to even bother with that. Just stop it. Well, he decided to take a closer look at McDonald's cybersecurity overall, and surprise, the Hamburglar could crack the code that they're doing there. McDonald's feel-good design hub is really easy to spoof. You can change login to register in the URL. Then you can sign up for an account, and then you can get access to a whole bunch of proprietary information, some of which is marked highly confidential and do not share from McDonald's, just by changing stuff in the URL. He then went on and showed there were other things you could change in which you could actually get access to information about employees, where they live, store managers, all the way up to the McDonald's CEO, how much they're paid, compensation, a whole bunch of other stuff. He's reached out to them and said, hey, you guys probably want to stop this, after changing their homepage to Shrek just for a minute to change it back to prove that he could do what he wanted to. So again, I love the fact that this huge corporation is like, cybersecurity, who cares? What do we do?
Well done.
All right. Now, Balake, your choice, sir. Robots taking our jobs, living like a Hollywood star, or all who wander are not lost.
Living like a Hollywood star.
Yeah, living like a Hollywood star. Here we find ourselves in Muncie, Indiana. A weird place that you'd find some sort of Hollywood star. But a 38-year-old Nathan Durden Washburn of Muncie is now facing charges because he tried to live life like he does in the movies. Yes, he recently walked up to a dealership and tried to purchase a Chrysler 300 with fake cash. Yes. Now, at the time, it was dark, the sales transaction. They didn't notice that on the back of the dollar bills, it said, propmoney.com, not legal tender. They somehow didn't turn the bills over and look at that. Again, people, process and procedures, yes. They were able to locate the 300, called police, and he actually told police that, he was aware they were using prop money, and he was buying the car in order to pay off another debt. So didn't work out so well.
There you go.
All right, now final choice this morning, Jeff. I know, it's like, I love the idea that the prop money, they just don't check. I mean, I go and I drop a 20 like at the convenience store, and they're like testing my DNA and putting markers on it and holding up the lights, and this dude comes in and buys a car, and they're like, envelope full of cash, what could go wrong? Okay, right. I know, maybe that's it. I'm not trying my fraud on a large enough scale. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's a lesson we have here, is it's large enough fraud, we're okay with this. Alrighty, Mr. Hunt. Robots taking our jobs, or all who wander are not lost?
All who wander are not lost.
This is a remarkable one. We find ourselves in Scotland. A woman reported missing by her family in Texas has been found living amongst a lost African tribe in the Scottish woodlands. Let's repeat that. Woman reported by her family lost from Texas, living with a lost African tribe in Scotland. Exactly. The Kingdom of Kubala, they claim they've settled in a forest, and they are reclaiming the land that was stolen from their ancestors in the Highlands 400 years ago. They say that this is all ordained. They are the original descendants of the Hebrews. They claim that is why they're allowed this land. The good thing is the tribe consists of 3 people. The king, the queen, and their handmaiden. The handmaiden, that's the Texas woman. She just showed up in Scotland.
You're listening to Jeff and Bill.
KNUS.